we go. There we go.
She'll use his trunk to sniff the ladies.
Well, last night represented the closing of the COP16, which we started in October in Cali. So this wasn't a separate meeting, this was part of the same meeting, and we were basically finishing off the to-do list from Cali. We ran out of time in those negotiations, which is why we're back here in Rome finishing off the discussions. The main focus has been on biodiversity finance and the future of how do we mobilize resources for nature's recovery, who manages that money, where is that money hosted, and what are the actions that we can take to make sure there's more of that money over the next 5 years to achieve our global goal to halt and reverse the loss of biodiversity. So that's kind of why we were here. And last night was the closing of that meeting. So they adopted all of the final decisions, tied up their loose ends, and finished ticking off their to-do list, basically.
I see no request for the floor, so is it adopted?
I think it's really positive. I think the mood in the room reflected that last night as well. As I said, this is something that the governments have been trying to decide a way forward on for quite a long time. And now they've got a clear work plan. They've got a clear plan of action over the next 5 years about what they're going to do, when they're going to do it. And hopefully that will also help rebuild some trust in the process, because there's a sort of a plan that you can hold people accountable to.
No.
There was lots of applause. There normally is when you adopt decisions at a conference of parties. But generally, I think the mood here has definitely been in the spirit of compromise. People have come here really wanting to reach an agreement. And I think parties have really had to dig deep to find this compromise. Actually, it's been something that's been coming for a while. They've been wanting an outcome like this for a long time. And this is the first time that they've really found a clear way forward on global biodiversity finance and who's going to host that, what is that going to look like. So generally quite celebratory.
I think our mission is clear. We must protect nature, not just for ourselves, but for the children and grandchildren who will inherit the world we shape today. Let us make COP16 a moment of opportunity for all to experience the natural wonders of this world.
Thank you. Understanding the difficult path to get here, I would like to ask the parties if you agree to adopt as a whole AL1B. As I see no request for the floor, so it is adopted.
We want to protect 30% of land and sea globally for nature by 2030. So that's one target as part of this whole suite of things that we're working towards. And obviously countries need finance to be able to implement these targets. A lot of developing countries are biodiversity rich, but they don't necessarily have the resources that they need to be able to protect and restore nature, because often it's more profitable to exploit our natural resources than it is to protect and restore them. So it's a complex issue, but they really need this to help them to support the implementation of these targets, whether that's through funding for science and research, to helping to support those protected areas, through to sort of government capacity. That money is used for a wide variety of things.